In 2016, Ford was one of the biggest motor companies in the world. However, my friends, Ford is in trouble. That year, Ford delivered 2.6 million vehicles in the United States, 1.3 million in China, and 1.1 million in Europe. Fast forward only 5 years later to 2021, and Ford sales in the United States had free fallen by 700,000 to 1.9 million. In Europe, the figure had gone from 1.1 million to 520,000, and in China, Ford's second biggest global country selling market, sales had fallen from 1.3 million to just below 500,000. This year, well, it's even worse. Everyone said it was just the COVID pandemic, but it wasn't. This year, Ford sales in Europe and in China have continued to freefall. And now they've essentially become a one-make company. If today Ford stopped selling F-Series pickup trucks, they would almost cease to exist. Now, clearly, a transition to electric cars has to happen, and it has to happen very fast to arrest this slide. Within the last 24 hours, NIO, the electric car company who have recently been having a good attack on Tesla, said that you can now get 866 different NIO models within a week. In other words, NIO's demand has fallen, which is a big problem. I told you guys I've sold pretty much all of my NIO and Xpeng stock recently. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. You can see why, in particular, I sold my stock and why I consider that that's a warning of why maybe you should too. Now, at the same time, Ford Mustang Mach-E, the price has gone down massively in China. In fact, you can now get a Ford Mustang Mach-E for an insanely good deal there. The price in China has now dropped to $34,000 US. Clearly, the competition is heating up in China big time. Tesla has lowered its prices and Ford's gone, holy smokes. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Great to have you guys. Welcome back, everyone else. Welcome to another amazing day on planet Earth. You know, it is an amazing day because this is what I said would happen, my friends. Many of you criticized me for that, and I said nothing. I kept my mouth shut. I just said, be patient and wait. The prices of electric cars will go down. Now, Tesla, my friends, is the catalyst for these price decreases. What do I mean? Well, who owns the biggest electric car factory in the world? Well, it's very clear who that is. That's Tesla. It's not BYD. BYD do produce a lot of NEV vehicles, new energy vehicles. I mean, plug-in hybrids and EVs together, and they're doing very, very well. But clearly the catalyst for this drop in price was Tesla, right? It happened at the same time as Tesla raised production. Tesla went and raised production through the roof at their factory in Shanghai. They're now able to produce 23,000 vehicles per week. And what happened? Tesla's demand timeframes, well, not the demand timeframes, but Tesla's delivery timeframes went from enormous to very, very short. In fact, Tesla actually began having inventory available for people to order. Now, the thing that was surprising about all of this was the fact that the Model Y has the best resale of any car in China in history. People with scalpers have been buying them, and I'm sure a lot of these scalpers have lost a lot of money buying them just to resell. So Tesla had to make a new rule in China saying, okay, guys, you have to sign an agreement, sign a contract. Literally, people were signing a contract to say, we won't sell this car for 12 months. So that was the idea there, was to get scalpers to stop buying the cars so that people could actually get a car themselves. Now, because Tesla raised production so much, and because, well, also there's obviously more than 100 different manufacturers making EVs in China, many of which you've never heard. I've discovered many of them on Alibaba. It's fascinating to do that. You guys already know I own a Chinese. In fact, I bought 2 Chinese EVs. Soon I'll have a Tesla Model Y as well. I've bought a Chinese EV I'm sure you've never heard of, which I'm going to show you. It's sitting in my front yard right now, right here. It's got a nice big battery pack in it that's going to run my house. And I've also bought a BYD Atto 3 as well. They're good cars. They are actually quite good, especially ones with lithium iron phosphate battery packs. But what's happening as a result is, well, Tesla wants to sell more cars. So what does it do? It pulls a demand lever. It decreases the price. What happens to the Tesla website? Tesla's website crashes. There's so much traffic on the website in China. Tesla's orders spike. And then Ford goes, oh no. NIO goes, oh no. X1 goes, oh no. And, well, they either do one of two things. Their sales suffer or they reduce prices. Now, the Mustang Mach-E has been a flop in China. That's the truth. They barely sell any of these in China. They're very low sellers. Part of the reason was Ford said they were going to deliver the Mustang Mach-E to customers. Customers started ordering them. This was last year in 2021. And then Ford just delayed deliveries for a long time. So there was a Mustang Mach-E owners forum in China. And most of them ended up just going and buying a Tesla Model Y because they got sick of waiting. So that was kind of the end of the momentum behind the Mach-E. Because the Mach-E is a good car. It is a really good car. Now, obviously, the exact opposite has happened in the US, right? Tesla hasn't been able to ramp production at the same rate that they have in China. Plus, of course, the Chinese factory can actually build the EVs at a much cheaper price than the American factory can. And so what's happened? Well, in the US, Tesla's raised prices. They've got huge demand, they've raised prices. So Ford did the same. They raised the price of the Mustang Mach-E. The thing is, right, back in April, Ford raised the price of the Mach-E in China. But now they've decreased the price by 10.4%. That's a pretty big number. $34,300. Now that's after subsidies. The price before subsidies is around $36,000 US. Can Ford make a profit selling them at these prices in China? Well, nobody knows. But I'd say probably not, because they use BYD battery packs. You're probably thinking, well, they should be able to make a profit, right? But they don't use BYD's Blade battery pack. They don't. Crazy decision from Ford, in my opinion. I don't know why they made that decision. Nobody knows why. I discussed this in another video. I said, what was Ford thinking? Ford have been whining publicly about the fact they can't ramp production of the Mustang Mach-E up in China because BYD doesn't make enough lithium ternary batteries for them. But it's not what BYD does. I mean, majority, 90% of BYD's cars use lithium iron phosphate batteries, Blade battery packs. And Ford was like, no, we don't want that. No. Tesla want it. Tesla use it. Ford said, no, we don't want that. We want your lithium ternary packs. Yeah, okay. That was a dumb decision. They're more expensive, obviously, have more issues than LFP packs, don't last as long, and BYD doesn't mass manufacture them. Why Ford made that a call, I don't know. Anyhow, standard range rear-wheel drive now, $34,300 US. Extended range rear-wheel drive, $39,570. Extended range all-wheel drive, $47,925. The GT model, $50,664. That means on average, the prices in China are around about $10,000 US, or slightly more, in fact, than the price in the US. I mean, look at the base model, right? The price in China, $36,000. It's $47,000 in the US. That's a big difference. Are Ford making a profit selling these? No, they're not. But fortunately, they're not selling very many of them, so it doesn't really matter for them too much. So what's happened is, I'll tell you exactly what's happened, and it's worse than it sounds. Ford have said these prices for the two cheapest models in particular apply only to existing stock. So Ford has made more cars than they can sell. The vehicles are sitting in dealerships, or I don't know, in a factory or somewhere. The vehicles are sitting there. Ford are saying, we're going to sell you our excellent cars, electric cars. They are good. Australians would love to buy a Mach-E if they could get their hands on one at bargain prices, because we just made a bunch of them and no one's buying them, or at least not enough people are buying them anyway. Now, it's not clear how many vehicles have been produced by Ford in China, but media say it's a few thousand. That would only be a small addition to the main production in Mexico, which already exceeded 125,000 at the end of September. That included over 55,000 sales in the US. Chinese media, though, are wondering now whether Ford's move is related to Tesla's price cuts for, well, between 5 to 9% on its cars. And I think it's pretty clear. There's a direct correlation here, right? Would you agree? Do you agree? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, Inside EVs has reported on this. So I was seeing a post A couple of media places have reported on this, and they're saying there's going to be no subsidies in China for EVs next year. You know what? These guys said the same thing every year. They say the same thing every year. There's going to be no subsidies in China next year. And there always is. So I would take those comments with an absolute grain of salt. To give you guys an idea, Tesla Model Y prices, including subsidies, $39,700 US for the base model, the LFP standard range. You can buy that one in lots of countries. It's for sale here in Australia right now. There's a lot of demand for them in Australia. There's a pretty long wait list for those standard range models. They're a really good car. I mean, if you compare it to the competition, it's basically better in every way, in every comparison I've done on this channel. So really worth considering one of those if you can get your hands on one. LFP battery pack, I think that's the one to go for. So $39,700. The equivalent Mustang Mach-E, all right, is $36,000. So there's only a $3,000 difference there. Personally, I can't see many people in China who perceive Tesla as a premium electric vehicle brand. They do, whether or not you agree, it doesn't matter. That's how they perceive the company. Yeah, that's proven beyond question. That's how they perceive it. I can't see customers going, you know what, I'm going to save, $3,000 buying a Mach-E. I just don't think that's going to happen. It could. There'll be a couple maybe, but not many. The Tesla Model Y long range. Now that model actually is much more expensive than the second up range model up with the extended battery pack. Now this is where Ford could get some sales because that one is $49,000 US because it doesn't qualify for the Chinese subsidy. It's not below 299,000 RMB, which is around about $40,000 US, doesn't qualify. Whereas the Ford Mustang Mach-E, the extended range battery version, that does qualify. So therefore, that model is only $39,570. That's a big difference in price between those two cars. We're talking there, that's nearly a $10,000 US difference between two fairly comparable cars there. I think Ford could sell a fair few of those extended range rear-wheel drive cars. Now the Model Y Performance is, well, it's an absolute bargain. It's a performance car and it's such a good price. That's what I think because I'm into performance cars. But if you're not into performance cars, it's not. It's a ripoff, right? Model Y Performance is $54,000 US in China. They only decreased the price by 4.8% because it's not really a big seller for the company. They don't need to sell a lot of them. And one thing has happened with Tesla in China. Well, two things, in fact. Number one, the website was just bombarded. It's had more traffic in the last week than it's had in the last basically 2 months combined for China. The other thing is Tesla removed a paint option as no cost. The silver option, if you want to get silver, you got to pay extra. It appears as though Tesla's demand in China has spiked again as a result. I'm pretty confident it has. Will Ford's demand spike in China? What does this mean for Ford as a company? Well, honestly, in China, Ford does sell quite a lot of cars. In fact, it's a very big market for the company. Do I believe they have a future in China? No, not really. I don't. I mean, to be fair, do I believe Ford have a future? Absolutely. Selling pickup trucks in the US. Electric pickup trucks in the US and Canada and Australia, if they'd ever send them here, would sell like hotcakes. Those things will do well. People love Ford pickup trucks. They want Ford electric trucks. Ford can do that. They can build their electric factories. They will. They'll do their batteries. There's not a lot of competition. I mean, Ram are not making any. They're saying they will, but whether that happens, who knows? They've got the Silverado. They've got the Cybertruck. They've got the Rivian, which is a smaller vehicle. It's expensive. There's not a lot of competition. Ford will sell a lot of those. Are they going to sell a lot of EVs in China or a lot of cars in China by 2030? Nah, I don't think so. I think they know it. Here's the writing on the wall. That's my take on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day.